My knee hurts, but I'm still recording this today because it was one of the only chances I had to do so. I've been wanting to do something for a bit now. Ideally the video about the 6x6 with the funny layout, but that video feels like it might never get done, because Avo made a version on Java that's just so much smaller and faster purely because it's on Java that if I made the Bedrock video now, it would only get compared to its Java counterpart because that video came out first, rather than being appreciated for its own merit. However, with that aside, for the time being, I've come to talk about something else completely unrelated. The thing behind me. I was just trying to work on something with Ashley when somebody neither of us knew joined our world. He asked for help replicating a build posted by Crafty Masterman on Java Edition 4 years ago that some of you may remember as the sexy door. Really? Initially, I was very abrasive and didn't even want to touch the layout because I was trying to do something else, but eventually I caved and just started working on it myself. The next day, when all of us were in the same world again and the other unrelated project was complete, I decided that it would be okay to not work on it alone and accepted help from Crescent, Ashley, and later Red B2C, who was a big part of how we managed to complete this thing at all because we were all being bumbling idiots. Now, what this build lacks in size and speed compared to its Java counterpart, it makes up for in elegance. Unlike the Java version, this build is 3 blocks thick, meaning that either side of it could be used as the front, and it will better fit into the wall of your build. And also, unlike the Java design, it's actually properly synced and fully timed so that the animation is as perfect as it gets. Unfortunately, right now at the bottom layer, it is larger in overall volume, but its other qualities vastly outweigh that one downside in my eyes. So this build, right here, is what we ended up with. As you can see, it's 11 by 11 by 3, which is kind of big, yeah, but of course, it's only that big because how else were we going to make it that fast, you know? Of course, that would be the case if I was lying to you, which I'm not. This is actually the real build. It's 10 by 11 by 3. It's much smaller, simply because one layer is gone. Of course, I don't need these anymore because I actually set up command macro for this. Now yeah, this one is the exact same animation, because the top half is the exact same, and the bottom half was just rewired so that it would not have that ugly bottom layer anymore. And honestly, I am a big fan of how this turned out. Way better. This is an overall improvement compared to what we had before. What the fuck? Now let's get on to the actual tutorial part of this, because I'm sure that's what you came here for. First, you need to actually build your stupid door frame, so we're gonna start with that. So this build is 10 blocks tall, 11 blocks wide, and 3 blocks deep. 3 of those blocks vertically are on the bottom, so when you dig out your hole for the door, you're going to need to dig 4 blocks into the ground, counting the door frame. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 should be your door frame. So when you actually have your door frame like this, you're going to have 3 blocks under for your wiring. Alright, now I don't need those anymore. For the most part, it's very simple. It's just a lot. Like, there's a lot going on, so it doesn't feel very simple. But trust me, it's simpler than you think. So first, we're going to start with just putting the layout in, at least the base layout. For that, we're actually going to need a couple blocks here so that we can put these pistons facing this way. Now, one of these pistons is going to be particularly annoying to place, but that's fine. So first, we just need these ones here, and then these, and then we actually need obsidian that I forgot about right there, and then another sticky up board like that. So obsidian here, and then 2 stickies like that. You're probably wondering, how does this one push? That's the one that's annoying to place, and we actually have to remove that block in order to place it again. So we can place the sticky piston underneath, and then put that there. Now, there is definitely a faster way to do that, but for all the dinguses out there, I have to explain it slowly. Now, the main concept behind this build is just directly moving things into place to be powered by the input line. When these get power, the obsidian blocks them, and these ones power, pushing them into place so that they can push these ones up. But of course, all that happens after the sticky piston that gets placed here extends, which is why we need to finish putting in the layout. dang it. Oh. Oh, this isn't gonna be fun. Alright. I mean, we can just do this. That works. Yeah. And then we can remove all these temporary blocks. Perfect. So yeah, you just have these singles here, which are going to be powered by a single target block later. And then the doubles up here. And then of course, you have right. You have a single here. But the problem is that it's hard to just place this top one. So what I'm going to do, what you can do is if you're not on mobile controls, you can hold the place button and then immediately jump after. And you'll place a sticky piston through another sticky piston, because Bedrock is cool like that. And then you can put that block back. Or if you're just in creative, you can just build through it. It really doesn't matter that much. Now there does need to be another sticky piston facing down here, and if you want to just be lazy, you can just place this here and crawl and do that. That's what I like to do. Not because it's practical or anything, but just because it's a neat trick. Then place two facing down like this, and two like this. Remove this one, but we'll come back to that in a second. Then you're going to need some doubles here on the bottom, like so. Then just place a sticky through the wall, I don't care. And then one here, and one there. And we remove those, and yeah, we can remove that for now. So when we actually do the wiring, after putting our layout in, the obsidian's here because it's mandatory for the layout to work. But when we do our wiring, we're going to place a block here, and a dust on it. And then another block down, and a dust here. And then a regular piston, and a torch on the top of it. And then a torch off of this one here. That's the simplest part of the build. Then a block off the dust, and another one off of that. And a block on each side like so. And a 4-tick repeater coming off each side of the block like that. With two observers facing upward coming from the repeater. Like so. Then one observer here, and one observer here. Actually no, we'll save those for last. You're going to place a glass here with a dust on it. And then repeat there. And then build this tower up a couple more blocks, like so. Then a solid block here with a dust, and a torch, and a piston facing this way, and another one on the other side, with a torch on top of both. Then a sticky piston on top of each of those torches, and one facing inward on each of those sticky pistons. And then a block here with a dust on top of it, and a block here with another dust, and then an observer off of each of those pieces of dust, like so. Then you're going to place a solid block here, and another one here, then a redstone lamp here with two observers running into this block. Same thing right here. I don't know why I keep doing that. And then run your input line all the way through there, right until about here. So that's 5 blocks long. Then one on each side like so. One block going up. And a target block on the other side of that. With a 4-tick repeater on each of these lamps. And then a 1-tick behind each of those. Then a dust right here. Now you're going to do me a favor. You're going to punch out this dust here. You're going to place a block here, and a torch. And then you're going to put your lever here, and you're going to pull it. And you're going to see that torch will turn off. Then you can put this dust back, and we can start working on it again. Put a block here, and a dust observer right here, with a block here, and a repeater on 3 ticks. 3 blocks like so, 3 redstone dust, and then a piston right here, with a torch off of it, then a block right here, a target block here, a piston here, and then an immovable block in front of the piston, and then a torch right here, and then a torch on top of that piston with a dust on this one. Then a solid block right here, and then 2 dust like so. Glass, dust, glass, dust, glass, dust. Then solid block and dust. Repeater here on 3 ticks, and then just another solid block, and another glass like so. And then a target block right here, and then an observer with the powering side facing into this block, and then a redstone lamp on its face, and that's the last lamp you will need. Then you're going to place a piston here, and we'll come back to that. So then, you're going to take an observer, place it right here off this dust, facing into the bottom of this sticky piston here. Then a glass here, and a dust. And on this side, a sticky piston facing down, with another one facing inward this way. And on this side, a normal piston facing down, with a sticky piston facing in this way. And then a normal piston right here, and then an observer off the head of this piston, like so. Then you're going to take an observer here, and a piston right here, and another observer here. Then another observer right here, and then a comparator on the top of this observer, a dust right here, another observer here, block, block, and then a repeater here on 2 ticks, a block on the repeater's face, a hopper on the bottom here, and an observer watching from the bottom of the hopper. Then a solid block right here, and a piece of dust, a solid block on the face of this comparator, and then another comparator reading that in subtract mode. And if I'm not mistaken, that should be the entire left side of the top, and the bottom right and left. Then you're going to need a few furnaces. So honestly, I'm just gonna data pick this one, because when I place it, it will already have an item in it. Like that. So we're gonna place furnaces with items in them right here at the top of this column. Then just a couple solid blocks here is fine. Dust right here, and then a target block right here. And then a piston facing upward on each side. A torch on these sides of the piston, with an obsidian on this one. Technically it doesn't need to be there, but shut up. It's my door. And then you're just going to take a comparator to read from each of these furnaces, and you'll see these pistons powered. Then you're going to place an observer right here, solid block, and a repeater here on 3 ticks with a block in front of it, a block on that repeater, a repeater facing into that block, also on 3 ticks, and then a piston in front of this observer with dust on top, then a block here to cut the dust, and then a target block here with a torch on it, then a neo block and a piece of dust on it, then a target block right here, and then a piston facing downward off of the target block with a torch on it, and then a torch here, and then a target block and a torch here. And unless I'm mistaken, that should actually be the entire door. So we've placed our lever already, which means we can pull it to test. It closed alright, double check the other side, looks good. And pull the lever again. And it opened perfectly. Absolutely flawless. Wonderful. And then of course, we can just remove this support layer because it's not actually part of the build. And there you have it, a Bedrock replica of the sexy door from Crafty Masterman and several others who are credited in the description of that video. So that's about it. Tutorial complete. There will probably be a world download eventually. It'll be on my Discord server if it's anywhere. This was made in collaboration with Red BGC, Ashley RS, and Crescent.